In this month's episode of Seek Out the Arts, we are exploring the subtle drama behind Edmund Leighton's Till Death Do Us Part. I'm reading two poems from a list of poems that everyone should know, and I'm also sharing a new concert pianist that I discovered today on the Daily Connoisseur. Hello everyone, Jennifer L. Scott here, and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. Seek Out the Arts is a monthly series that I do where we do an art, music, and poetry study for adults, and of course children are welcome too, but it's a place where we can explore arts and culture in a way that's hopefully fascinating and dynamic. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the Chic Society, which is channel memberships here on the Daily Connoisseur. The Chic Society helps support this channel and they help bring you these amazing videos. So the membership is only $1.99 a month, and I do a members only vodcast every Friday. We also go live together once a month, and we even have an optional pen pal program where pen pals are writing each other all around the world. It's pretty amazing. There are upper tiers available as well, and that's who you are seeing here. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share the Elegant Connoisseurs with you, so stay tuned for that. Okay, let's dive right into the painting today, which is by Edmund Blair Leighton, and we have never discussed this painter on the channel before. He was a British artist born in 1852 and died in 1922. And he was a painter of historical genre scenes, specializing in Regency and medieval subjects. He was also known for his witty commentaries on the male-female dynamic. So today we're going to look at Till Death Do Us Part. This work was exhibited at the Royal Academy of 1879. So we have a look at it, and it looks like a pretty straightforward scene until you look a little closer. But this is a bride walking down the aisle. Now, when I first saw the scene, I thought that she was walking down with her father, as one does traditionally when the father walks you down the aisle, because the man standing next to her looks so much older than she is. But you find out that that is actually the groom. So the bride does not look particularly thrilled to be getting married again. This reminds me of The Reluctant Fiancé by Tolmouche that we studied a few months ago. So she's looking down. She looks really sad. She's wearing a beautiful luminescent dress and has a gorgeous traditional bouquet and a veil. And you could see a little peeking of her white satin slippers down below. And her groom looks very somber. He doesn't look particularly excited either, but you know, he looks pretty happy to be getting married to such a young beauty. And then we look at everyone in attendance of the wedding, and I cannot find one face that looks happy. So everyone is looking sad or indifferent. The bride is looking down. She's avoiding eye contact with anybody. And let's look at the man who is directly to the bride's right. So this is a tall, young-looking, dashing gentleman, and he looks particularly sad about this union, and one would say that perhaps that was the man that the bride wanted to marry, but instead she chose this older gentleman. Now, why would she do that? Here's the funny story about this. When Leighton gave this to the Academy to display, he gave it the sarcastic title of LSD, which stands for the Latin phrase Libre Solidi Denari, which translates to pounds, shillings, pence. So what Leighton is trying to say here, not so subtly, is that the woman is marrying for money rather than for affection. So he gave this that kind of humorous name, pounds, shilling, pence. One of the funniest well-wishers is the lady up at the front, the elderly lady who's sitting down. Now, we don't know if she's sitting down because she can't stand up or because she's just over it, but she's looking on with just placid, bored determination. It's like she's seen so many of these weddings before where there wasn't actually any love involved. It's like she's just completely over it. Off to the bride's left, we see an onlooker at the very edge of the painting, a young woman who's looking on kind of anxiously. We suppose that this is a good friend of the bride who's, you know, a little bit worried about her future with this kind of stern-looking elderly man. So there is no joy in this. There's also two gentlemen in the back that look like they're whispering or gossiping about the union. And it just does not look like a very happy day. And yes, so there just appears to be so much of a tragedy kind of slash comedy about this. If you think about, you know, history and how many women have had to marry for reasons other than love, it's quite tragic. And you can tell, I mean, there's like a sense of magnetic longing between the bride and then the gentleman off to her right. You could just feel it. But the groom seems completely oblivious to this. Like he's just looking straight forward, has no idea that that longing is there. Here's a fun fact. The old groom is actually a self-portrait of the artist himself. I would love to know your thoughts on Edmund Leighton's Till Death Do Us Part down below. Let's move on to the musical recommendation for this month. I stumbled across Caden Kelly's YouTube channel, and he is a young man who is a concert pianist, and he is so talented that I absolutely had to share his work with you and his YouTube channel. He has all amazing videos on his channel, but the one that I'm going to link here is his performance of Liszt's Transcendental Etude No. 7 in E-flat major eroica. And you can just see the passion that he has for the piano. He is so talented and dynamic. Caden Kelly is definitely one to watch. I'm going to leave his channel down below, and I think it'd be pretty neat if you subscribe to his channel as well if you love classical music. Okay, now for the poetry segment. I wasn't sure what to share this month, so I had the idea to look up an article on poems that everyone should know. And I was really happy to find that we have studied like 80% of the poems that everyone should know already in the Seek Out the Art series. But there were two that we have not read yet, and so I wanted to read them to you today. The first poem is by Robert Frost, who penned one of my favorite poems of all time, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. And this is called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. This short poem describes the fleeting nature of life, how life is short. Youth can suddenly be gone. You know, things that we prize like beauty or the firsts of things, that they can really go away. So it's about how nothing is constant but change, really, and everything does eventually die. A little bit morbid, but true. And it kind of helps you look at the world that way and maybe appreciate things a bit more, because one day they will be gone. We will all be gone. And things don't change in a bad way. I don't get a sense of doom and gloom from it. Like when leaves fall to the ground, it's still beautiful. So beauty of your youth might change, but you're still beautiful, right? So I don't think that it's like a morbid message, but nothing gold can stay helps us to reconcile the fleeting nature of life. Okay, one of the other poems on the list that we hadn't read yet was The Tiger by William Blake. He spells tiger differently than we do, with a Y. Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Okay, I had to read this one a few times in order to first come up with my own meaning, because that's what I like to do. I like to see what I take from it, and then I like to read what the commentators take from it. And the first thing that stood out to me about this poem was all the questions. There are so many questions in this poem. So it indicates a narrator who is contemplating the nature of the tiger, the nature of life. There are so many descriptive words here, like deadly terrors, dread feet, dare seize, fearful symmetry. So we get a feeling of terror. I mean, if I saw a tiger at night, I'd be terrified. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing someone seeing the fire by night, but also contemplating the awesome beauty of this creature, but also how scary it can be. And commentators have said this about the theme, that the tiger is both beautifully enigmatic, but also fierce, just like our creator, so that all living entities must reflect their creator. That's the main theme of this poem. And you can think about nature as well, how beautiful it can be, but also how fierce it can be, and how you could die by the hands of nature, but you could also enjoy a beautiful garden. So I feel like that's what the tiger is bringing the onlooker here. Some people say that the tiger is a symbol of God's destructive side, that he balanced his creation by making a creature so fierce as a tiger. And I actually think about that a lot. Like when you think about a lion, you know, like when you see a nature documentary of a lion roaring, it's absolutely astounding, just terrifying. And then you look at something really cute, like a little koala, or, you know, like a cute little creature, and you just wonder why there are both. Of course, there have to be both. There has to be a symbol of God's gentleness and love, and also a symbol of the fierceness represented in nature. So that's the tiger here. Let me see why he spelled tiger the way he did. Here it says from homework.study.com, readers often wonder why the tiger is spelled as such rather than with an I. William Blake spelled it with a Y instead of I because he employed the Middle English spelling of the word. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Seek Out the Arts. I love studying art and culture with you. If you have any recommendations for paintings or poems or musicians that you would like me to share, please leave them in the comment section down below. And now I would like to share the Elegant Connoisseurs with you. They are our top tier members in the Chic Society. The 90-day memoir workshop from Alan Watt and the LA Writers Lab. Alan's Scottish Shortbread. Jenny Williams from Carrot Top Paper Shop. Elaine Brisebois, certified nutritionist and women's weight loss coach. Guy Blaise, author of Love Like the French, A Guide to Better Romance and Relationships. Dr. Kate Philbin, transpersonal psychologist and professionally certified life and executive coach. Teresa Maples from Self-Care Routine Cards. And thank you to the following: Catherine Ray, Anne-Marie Ramsey, Ashley Diaz, Heather Barrera, Jenny Candelaria, Jet Raleigh Heron, Gina K. Henry, Kelly Leakopoulos, Linda Eckloff, Maria Condor, and Tina Hugal. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the month, and we will resume this series next month in October. I have a fun, spooky themed Seek Out the Arts for you, so you will definitely want to check that out. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Goodbye.